Welcome back to She Shield. Today I had the pleasure of interviewing Tenille. She is on the USA Pump Action Shotgun team for the Shotgun World Shoot this coming September, October in Greece. I'll also be there. And Tenille's someone that I just thought could really speak well to the pump action kind of side of the shotgun world. But this episode has a lot more in it. First of all, it's incredibly motivating. Tenille talks a lot about how she's approaching her 50s and how she sees life in just this very encouraging and like what's next type of framework as opposed to, getting old. And I think that's just like such a beautiful message that came along with a lot of talking about like technique behind shotgun, what it is to do three gun, and some opportunities that are out there for maybe listeners like you that don't know much about the three gun or shotgun world. So this episode truly is a reflection not only of Tenille's life and how she got into it, but how you could maybe start your journey in that as well. And if we talk a little bit about the realism behind going to something like a world shoot, I think there are some misconceptions that we address. And it's just so much worth a listen. For those of you listening that want to see and watch this episode, you can head over to the YouTube channel. Feel free while you're here to please download this episode and rate the podcast. That is how we get on the map, guys. That is how She Shield gets seen. It would mean the world to me if you could do that. And in the meantime, if you want to gain kind of closer access to what I'm doing in the gun space, maybe you want to ask me more one-on-one questions and you want to go live with me on a weekly manner, you can join the concealment community. It is my Facebook group. If you find me on Facebook, the concealment community is my pinned post at the top. It's a Facebook group, totally free to join. We're going to be doing weekly lives so that I can answer questions for you all and make you all the first people to know about any updates in kind of my realm of firearms instruction and helping you all get started on this kind of lifelong journey, whether that be in shooting sports or in concealment. But mostly it is a concealment Facebook group, so it's been fun already to connect with a lot of you. I'll see you there. In the meantime, stay on for this episode. It's a good one. I kind of wish we'd caught some of our conversation on like social media on the podcast, like for the episode. If we went into that a little bit today, are you comfortable?
That's absolutely.
Okay. Very cool. Okay, let's jump in with shotgun though. So
Okay.
Tenille, I wanted to have you on because pump action shotgun, of all of the disciplines, it seems like the most difficult. Like you have to manually, correct me if I say any of this wrong, please. I'm new to shotguns, as you know. Manually chamber each round.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Every time you shoot. I mean, at one point I considered switching over to pump action.
Right.
I decided that being on a team was important to me, and I was at first I was like, oh, individual, and then I was like, that's kind of lame. Like I want to be with people.
Yeah.
And I'd heard so many good things about you, and we met in like an airport one time. We was like, reach out to Tenille, she knows everything. So it's a really interesting discipline to me, and I get a lot of people on social media asking about my shotgun and whether or not it's pump action,
Right.
which it's one of those things, once you're in a discipline for a while, it's easy to be like, okay, like, do you see me pumping right? But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
I just want to know about your experience and like how you got into it, and you're a three gunner,
Yeah.
which I think I've had one to two other three gunners on the podcast in general. I think we're over 200 episodes. So this is a really special perspective that we can have today. But for those listening who maybe don't know about you and didn't see your 6 million views video of you doing pump action dry fire on a treadmill, would you introduce yourself?
So my name is Tennille Chidester. I kind of come from a three-gun family. So my dad started MGM Targets in '92.
Yes. Okay.
And that's about when we all kind of got sucked into the competitive shooting world.
Yes.
So I shot my first like steel match when I was, I think, 15.
Oh, wow.
And so as life goes, you're in and out of the sport as family, kids, travel hockey. Like how much time and money do you have to allot it? So I got into three gun, and then when I started working for Three Gun Nation, it afforded me the capability to really start to get into three gun a lot more. So I'd been tinkering on the outskirts, maybe one or two three gun matches a year, and that was kind of where I found my tribe. A really unique group of people that were really about having a good time and building our shooting skills. But it was like, to be honest, it was about having a good time, with like-minded people.
I get that.
So I just kind of dived in, and then one year for Three Gun Nation, or when I was working there, one of the guys I shot with on the F1 firearms team was like, hey, let's run heavy this year. And I'm like, heavy? What's heavy? Oh, you got to run a 308 and a 45 and a pump shotgun. Like, I don't know. And he's like, giving me harassing me, like,
Yeah.
see what, you're not going to do it? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was my first experience. Like I had to go buy a pump shotgun, and I brought a Browning BPS because I'm a huge fan of Browning guns. And it was completely the wrong gun for
Okay.
the sport,
Yeah.
but I made it work, and I didn't
Nice.
know any better. So I was
Yes.
like, cool. And I just found that it was interesting to me. I like to change up gear in divisions and try different things. I really like to be challenged. And so I'm like, well, this is totally different.
Yeah.
Okay. And just kind of developed an affinity for it. So we ran that whole season with pump. And then I, put that gun away, and then I went to Worlds in modified division, and that was my first Worlds eye-opening experience
Yeah.
with a red dot on a shotgun, and we're again using all of the equipment. That was really not the right equipment for that division, but it's
Gotcha.
what we had.
Yes.
Because in
Yeah.
3-gun, I mean, it's like a run what you brung, which I know is awful,
I actually
awful
don't know much
English.
about 3-gun. Like, just to be totally transparent to
Okay.
you, I've never done a 3-gun match.
Oh,
So,
well, we can fix that.
yeah,
I mean, now
for
you got
sure.
your shotgun scored away,
Yes,
and that's
I
the gun
do.
that like scares people.
Oh, really? Okay, because
Yeah.
rifle actually scares me the most.
Yeah.
And I've done the tactical games, but I've still yet to do
Yeah.
3-gun, so it's interesting. Anyway.
The 3-gun will be easy now. Now that you have a shotgun, you're good.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, I shot there, and then this year, or I guess last year when we were qualifying, I was like, oh, well, the U.S. has never taken any women in the standard manual division. So I'm
I
like,
don't know that.
yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can qualify. I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I can figure it out.
Absolutely.
And so then I was like, well, they've also never had a team competition at the World Shoot. So then I start talking to the girls, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
who's game to do something nobody's ever done before?
Right, absolutely.
And so we put together a team.
Yeah.
And so there are 3 of us going from the US in the
Mhm.
pump division. And it's just like getting better and better. As it pertains to the gun itself, is it more difficult? It is absolutely more physically taxing.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, oh, I have to remember to do this all the
Yeah.
time, and it gets tiring.
Absolutely.
But the shooting is still the same. Your
Mhm.
foundations, whether it doesn't matter where you're shooting. Sight, picture, grip, stance, trigger press. It's
Yeah.
it's the basics are the same.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense. In fact, I didn't realize there was a semi-automatic shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't know that was a thing
Right.
because I'd only seen like Hollywood pump action shotguns.
Right.
I thought that this was just a gun that you had to manually pump
Mm-hmm.
for every shot because of that like limited exposure
Right.
to it. It wasn't until Lena asked me if I wanted to learn and she showed me her shotgun and I was kind of like, oh, like, is this the pumping mechanism? And she was like, that is the handguard. This is
Right.
a semi-automatic. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's crazy. Cool, I knew that, and you're just kind of like, cool, 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 cool. And she's over here like trying to get me to go to Worlds at the time, which didn't really take much convincing. Anyway, but no, that's so interesting. So to clarify, so when you started in 3-gun, you started with a pump action.
Well, technically, yes.
Okay.
So my first 3-gun was in 99.
Okay.
And it was, so my dad used to run the MGM Ironman. So
Yeah.
that's kind of our family legacy. I took over it at one point.
That's
My
awesome.
husband ran it. My brother ran it. So the first 3-gun I ever went to, he's like, hey, do you want to shoot a 3-gun? And I'm like, what's that? Right. And so he's like, oh, I'll bring everything for you. Just show up. I'm like, okay. So I show up. I had good pistol skills.
Yeah.
Or decent, safe, I guess is
Mhm.
probably where I should leave that. Not even decent, but safe. I was
Right.
safe. And so his tutorial was, here's the safety, here's the trigger, you hold it like this.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Yeah.
And it beat me to pieces. Like
Yeah,
I
I
was
bet.
bruised from here to here. Like the
Yeah.
gun didn't fit. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But it
That'd be
lit a
hard.
fire. It was like,
Yeah.
okay. So my first shotgun was actually a 20 gauge pump
Nice.
off the shelf from Walmart. I think it was like $187. Again, this is, 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And that didn't last long. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, we're putting that away.
Totally fair.
And then I switched over to a semi-auto.
That's really interesting. Yeah, Lena and I have talked about this a little bit, how like your first experience with a shotgun could very much deter you because of
Mhm.
how difficult it is to hold.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of we were talking about like reels and how they get just spread across the internet like
Mhm.
wildfire sometimes. And I've been seeing a lot of trends where people will and I post the same trend. I've been running it in trial reels where it says just like do it all and it's a girl showing herself like skydiving and um going for a run and like at a concert and then shooting a gun.
Yeah.
And it's typically a shotgun that like a family member has handed these girls. I've seen this so many times. I should be collecting these in like a thing,
Mm-hmm.
not to make fun of them, just to show how much like if you don't properly hold it, it will rock you, rock your shit. And my uncles did that to me as a kid. Like I think I held a like a hunting, I'm gonna say it was like a hunting shotgun to shoot a pellet. I have this memory so vague, that's how young I was.
Right.
And I remember it beat me up. Like I think it hit my jaw, hit my shoulder. Like
Mm-hmm.
um that's not, I didn't count that when I was talking about, learning shotgun and going to Worlds in like 3 months, because that was not learning shotgun. That was like my uncle handing me a gun, not even knowing like what was safe versus what was unsafe. And it kind of like beating me up a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you took that as a challenge and not as like a I don't want to do this ever again.
Yeah.
Which most kids probably would.
That worked for my personality
Yeah,
type.
yeah.
I would never do that to anybody else.
Right.
Never. I mean, my first handgun was a double stack 45 pistol, right? And for whatever reason, that's what Dad thought worked, and that
Right.
worked for me. And I still have that gun. I still run it sometimes, because it's perfect now. It's,
Right.
I've got a lot of rounds through it.
Yeah.
But I would never do that to anybody else. I call those the
Right.
bad girl videos, where some guy, and they make me really angry,
Sure.
honestly. Like I
Yeah.
see those and I'm so mad, because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, now when that girl comes to me for actual instruction,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to fix all of the things that you broke.
Right.
Or that guy broke. Like, oh,
Yeah.
here's a loaded 454 Casull. And they were like doing this.
Yes.
Oh, why would
Yeah.
you do that to anybody that you care about?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it worked for my personality. I
Sure.
would never do that to anybody else.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
That's completely understandable. Yeah, and I've heard about your family's background a tiny bit, but as far as like getting into guns, it sounds like that was pretty pivotal for you.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have ever like discovered three gun or any of that without that influence?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just so my background is in theater, right?
Oh,
So
really? No,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I have a degree in theater.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of completely oddball considering I
I
work
get
in a
it.
gun range now.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know that my my circle would have ever pulled me into that world. And I've always
Okay.
said that three gun is kind of tribal,
Yeah.
right? You get invited in, and that's how you get sucked into it. So it's
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty rare that somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna go do a three gun today,
Right.
not knowing anybody, not knowing anything about the gear.
Right.
It's kind of like, Lena is saying, hey, come shoot shotgun at Worlds, right?
Yes.
She sucked you into it.
She did.
And then in doing that, opened up doors to a whole nother world, the
Yes.
sport of three gun.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's how three gun works, is we suck each other into
Yeah.
it, and we want everybody to be as addicted to the sport and the community
Yep.
as we
Spend
are.
just as much money.
Yep. Oh, yes. It's like
That's
the
something
first
that-
hit's free. I'll loan you everything.
Right. That's literally
Yeah.
what happened with Lena. She was like,
Yep.
"Here you go," and she winked at me.
You'll never have any money again.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. No. Exactly. That's cool. And what I like about you, you briefly mentioned this before the episode, is that you're helping people get into the sport that don't otherwise have this like family background and tradition to pull them in. You mentioned a clinic you have coming up in October through A
Yeah.
Girl and a Gun. I'd love
Correct.
to hear a little bit more about how you're doing that, and maybe like, just as an aside, maybe someone can't make this clinic, that's not maybe realistic for their path. Like, how should they get started? And take it wherever you want, but I'd love to hear it through your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit of background on A Girl and a Gun.
Yeah.
It's a national organization. There's chapters all over the country. I lead a chapter out of Park City, and I lead a chapter out of Salt Lake.
Is it how close you live? You don't have to say it on the podcast.
I live within an hour drive of each of these locations.
Okay.
So
we just coordinate.
yeah, exactly. So I have two
different.
different groups of women that I work for there, or work with.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is education, empowerment, and community.
Right.
So that is a great avenue for anybody getting into any shooting sports to be able to kind of start getting the education, because most of us, if we're playing in one game, especially as a facilitator, we're also playing other games, or maybe we're not, but I know who is, and here's where you can go. So the event that I work in the fall is called Fall Fest. So there's 3 days of clinics, and it's all three guns. So you'll have, I love the format of it. Cindy Coker has built this and worked her butt off to make it a really educational. So I have the same students for 2.5, almost 3 full days. So I'm like, okay, we can work on pistol. Now we can work on shotgun. Now we can work on rifle. And now we can put it all together. And then after the clinics, we do a 3-gun together. So I can help coach them and give them more stage insights. Do you need to pause?
No, you're good. I was making sure the audio wasn't
Okay.
We have jets coming over us right now, if you guys can't
Yeah.
hear that. I have really good software, don't worry.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
So it just allows us that avenue to be able to take somebody from, so we break it down into skill set, right? So slow and steady is maybe somebody who wants to get into 3-gun, but has never done anything except for pistol.
Okay.
So here we have an intro shotgun, intro rifle, and you have a coach to walk you through the stages, you know,
nice.
to really be able to make sure that you're safe, that you have your gear together. It's like kind of squad momming, but you know, at a little bit more intense.
Yes, yeah.
So if you don't have access to be able to come to Fall Fest, getting plugged in with a Gorilla and a Gun anywhere through connections and networking, we can get you plugged into different clinics. So like I'll run a shotgun clinic through my Gorilla and a Gun chapter, and I'll do a rifle, and then we'll do an intro to competition, and just trying to build our community.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. And I know Cindy through the Shotgun World Space. She's very kind, and
she's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I could see you all just making that super fun. Are you handling the beginners, intermediates, like more experienced?
I have the intermediate.
Okay.
Which
You
I
probably already said that. Sorry.
I didn't say that.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So I have the intermediate, which is called picking up the pace.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
I look at it like we're kind of taking off training wheels, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but now we're starting to build those skill sets on our own, and coaching and tweaking to help make things more efficient.
Heck yeah.
And I see a huge amount of that is actually in the confidence building and the mental aspect of things.
Fantastic.
Like you're out here doing amazing things that most people will never dream of, and you need to own that. Like take up this space.
That's awesome.
And so I just feel very, very fortunate to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I would have gotten and so I got into USPSA because I dropped out of medical school. That was my background. It's a nicer way of saying I dropped out of medical school. And I met one of my best friends to this day. Her name's Lisa. She walked me through my first USPSA match. She was nice enough to like, if you ever met her, you kind of remind me of her. She just has this like personality that's very like inviting and like just, I don't know, very good energy. And like she walked me through everything to do with a USPSA stage that eventually led to me taking it like a bit seriously in the beginning. I've gone through like it was a social hour, and then it was like important to me, and then like social hour, and then like actually tried to improve, all the way to Lena just kind of casually saying like we don't have a lot of girls going to shotgun world, and this would be a really cool thing for you to pick up and do. I'd mentioned that shotgun is incredible when it comes to the application of self-defense and home defense mostly,
Right.
Because we don't all want to carry a Mossberg 590 in our pants, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly.
Right. And so I told her, I was like, I wouldn't know where to start. And I talked to her about, USPSA was my way of becoming more proficient with a firearm. So with a pistol. And so she was like, why don't you do the same thing with shotgun? Like learn it in a competitive way to where your technique is so set in that like applying it to defense won't take much.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm kind of going for. And I don't have any like big sponsorships. I think a lot of people think that like Mossberg is like paying me or something. That's not the case at all. They've supported me with one gun, and it's actually a tactical 940, so that's coming in soon, and I'm going to do some content hopefully on that soon.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those, like, it seems like such a high goal to achieve. So like the more we can like spread this across and like show that it's available to everyone, and there's actually like technique that doesn't make it so painful, you know what I mean? That it could be a really enjoyable sport for people to pick up, and not so scary for women to maybe have next to their nightstand, kind of thing.
Yep.
By the way, have you ever shot a pistol grip shotgun?
Yes.
Like a 590 kind of thing? Like how do you feel about those? Like
I feel that was super weird.
they're super weird,
Super
right?
weird. Yeah.
Did you learn? Okay, so I posted a video, or posted so many of me shooting. I have like a Mossberg 590, It's their chrome and brown leather combo. It's like a special edition.
Mm-hmm.
I found it at a pawn shop, and my ex and I both found it at the same time, and I basically like convinced him to let me buy it. It's a long thing. I'll tell you more about it later, but off camera. But I posted a bunch of videos of me shooting it, and it was painful to shoot. It
Yeah.
was like not fun, and that is actually promoted for like women's self-defense in
Yeah.
home, which is insane to think. Like,
I hear it all the time.
right?
Yeah.
As opposed to like a stock shotgun, like having 3 points of contact as opposed to 2. This episode of She Shield is brought to you by Right to Bear. You've probably heard me say that self-defense is more than simply carrying a firearm. It's awareness, avoidance, and preparation for anything that is to come your way. And that's why I'm partnering with Right to Bear. They stand by defenders like you and me. You'll receive benefits like expert witness support, psychological care, gun replacement, and even protection for other lawful self-defense tools like pepper spray, knives, and even your hands and feet if you have to use them in a struggle. What sets Right to Bear apart is that they are dedicated to education and immediate legal response. In case you do ever have to protect yourself, you have access to a 24/7 attorney-answered emergency hotline so that you are never alone. What I love most, though, has to be the personal connection that Right to Bear will have with you as a member. For example, Frank, the president of Right to Bear, will give you a personal phone call when he hears about a claim being filed. That level of care in the industry is extremely rare. If you carry, train, and believe in thinking ahead to protect yourself and your family, consider getting a membership with Right to Bear. If you use my code FIT4FIA10, you will get 10% off your membership, and the link to access this and to learn more is located in the show notes of this episode, which are the notes below the title. Protecting yourself and your family should not leave you defenseless afterwards. Stay safe and stay vigilant with Right to Bear. How do you feel about that? Like, just someone with like the truly like long-term relationship with shotgun. How do you feel about that?
I'm not a fan. Like, honestly, I
That's
the nicest way
Yeah, that's
I
a nice way
can
to
I
put
can
it.
say. I mean, I have very strong feelings about it.
Okay, go first
So
is the
well,
place.
at the end of the day, your self-defense is up to you. So whatever you are going to train with is your most efficient uh, weapon of defense, right? Whatever that is going to be.
Yeah.
Shotgun, I feel like people have less accessibility to. Right? Where can you shoot shotgun? Most indoor ranges won't allow you to shoot it. Very few people actually are going to train with their equipment the way they should be
Yeah.
if they are planning to put their lives on the line with that gun.
Yeah.
And so I see this a lot working at a gun store in an indoor range. You know, some guy will come in and look for like a little shockwave or something like that, and then give it to like their 60-year-old grandma. And I'm like, oh no, like she
Right.
has no training, she has no education, and this is going to recoil like no other. Like there's so many other options. And so I'm not opposed to shotguns. I love them. It's probably my favorite of the three
Favorite
platforms.
platform? That's awesome.
But it's just like anything else. If you're not going to train with it, you are just asking for a disaster to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think like those little shotguns, they look cool.
Right.
Absolutely, they're on all the video games.
Yeah.
They must be woo.
They really are.
Yeah.
Gosh, they really are.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like if somebody is going to have a gun like that, they need to have a foundational skill set, probably on a bigger gun like this, where they really can get 3 points of contact. They can learn about a good stance. They can learn
Yes.
about cheek welds. They can learn that just because you point it in the right direction doesn't mean you're going to hit what you're aiming at,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So not wholly opposed, but I am absolutely opposed if it's not accompanied with the proper training.
Yes. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Full confession. I went out with my cameraman, who's a gun guy. His do you know the gunny gal, Alyssa Seymour? She's local.
I know the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her husband does all of her media. He's the gunny gunner. So luckily, like, I don't know if you've ever tried to have a videographer or a cameraman who's not a gun person be it's not as helpful, okay?
Right.
So I took my Mossberg out. I wanted to do this reel where I was like playing the violin, and then I put the violin away, and then out of the same Savior violin case, I took my pump action out, and we got to the point where I had to shoot it, and I was like, dude, I've never shot this. And he was like, okay, well, off camera, just go ahead and shoot it. And so he was like, hold it like next to your hip, and I shot off one round and I was like, that's terrible. I was like, I like never want to shoot that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we worked on technique, like a little bit more, a little push, a little pull. Like we tried to like make it easier. And I tried to like apply what I knew from shotgun. But you see people like holding it up here. You see people like one-handing it. Like
And hitting themselves in the head. Yeah.
there's some crazy stuff out there. Obviously, like I I know enough to know that like it's a two-hander for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's promoted for women's defense, and don't get me wrong, I want my mom to have a shotgun like so badly. I think that this is actually like, I feel like there's less room for error. Tell me what you think. That a pistol,
Hmm.
like I see a lot of people pick up a pistol by the trigger guard without proper training. You
Right.
see it in Hollywood all the time.
Yep.
It's the most angering thing in the world. It makes, honestly, it takes me out of movies so much.
I get it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah.
and old yeah. If you know, you know, right? Like, but like I feel like a shotgun, it's almost more intuitive to like grab the handguard, kind of grab like the really long grippy
Hmm.
portion behind the trigger guard. That it almost feels like there's less room for error. And like at the end of the day, there should be no loaded firearm if someone is intuitively grabbing the trigger guard. Like
Right.
there should be none of that. There should be so much foundational setting, dry fire before they ever do it.
Hmm.
But it is something that I'm like, I almost like want her to have like a 940 tactical before I give her, you know, like a, I don't know, some type of pistol.
Yeah.
But all goes back to training. Would you agree with that? Like
I think
intuitively?
yes, I would, because I feel like shotguns are kind of the sledgehammer of the gun world.
Dude, right? Yeah.
And I
Inaccurate
mean,
rifle.
there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like I don't need a scalpel, I need a sledgehammer.
Oh, I
So
like
I
that.
do feel like
Yeah.
that is where the shotgun it does fit in.
Yeah.
And especially when you start getting different loads in there, you get buckshot, you get a bigger spray, you get 20 BBs or
Yeah.
pellets as opposed to one little tiny pencil-sized bullet.
Right.
So yes, I do agree with that. I think a lot of it depends on the nature of the gun.
Yeah.
The smaller guns, they are a lot more maneuverable.
Yeah.
So easier to tuck, behind your bed or under your bed or, wherever you store your guns.
Yeah.
And again, personal decision. I won't go into any of that.
Sure.
So there's a lot of variables. I do feel like pistols are more maneuverable, right? Because they're so much smaller.
Yeah.
However, I do feel like they're a lot more challenging to actually be able to, I'm going to use the term master, but I mean that
Yeah.
loosely, right? To
No, that makes
become
sense.
proficient with.
Yeah. Yeah, this just made me think of, so the violin, I've been playing since I was like 4, and the thing that
I
my
actually saw that reel.
Oh, cool. You
Yeah,
did. Okay,
yeah,
very cool. Yeah,
I
yeah.
did, yeah.
I thought you were gonna say you play the violin. I was gonna be
No,
like, whoa.
no.
Okay. Lanny Barnes does. Isn't that wild?
She's pretty
You would
amazing.
expect that of her.
I would
wouldn't you?
expect that of
Isn't
her.
that
Like,
crazy?
yeah, if she
Yeah.
told me anything, I'd be like, yeah, that
Yeah,
tracks.
yeah.
That tracks. Everything at a high
Professionals.
level. Yep.
Yeah,
that
you're
tracks.
also a surgeon? Yeah, that
Yeah.
tracks.
Her sister, one of her sisters is.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, duh. Like they're
It's like
love it.
2 Olympians and then like a neurosurgeon in that
Yes,
family. And
yes.
yeah, nothing
Pretty
you can say will
insane.
surprise me.
God, she's impossible to cut up. I love her. Speaking of scalpels. Yeah, so what was I even going? Oh my God, violins. It's one
Yeah.
of the hardest instruments to master. That's like a thing that's known in like the kind of like orchestral world, the brass and woodwind world. My mom growing up told me like how cool would it be for you to master the most difficult to master instrument. And I was always like, okay, see how you feel, like it was a challenge as a kid.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like that would have worked on you, you know what I mean? With your
Probably.
nature. Which is a compliment, by the way. And the reason is like I think someone could look at the violin and say, yeah, that looks really hard, right? But the reason is on a violin, the I don't know what this is freaking called, but the string board, the thing
Mhm.
that the string hovers above that you depress the string on to make a note, right?
Right.
If you so much as tilt your finger back by like a millimeter,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different note.
Right.
And you don't hear that or see that, especially because if someone has heard the violin, they probably are hearing it from professionals that like don't make mistakes to where, you would hear such a
Right.
difference. And if you're not tuned in literally like 2 notes, you wouldn't know. And I think that applies to the gun world in that pistols have more like fine motor control.
Yeah.
And it's 2 points of contact as opposed to like the 3 with shotgun and
Mhm.
rifle. And I think that's like when you give people that perspective of why maybe this would be an easier. I don't know. It's hard though because it's a give and take. Like there's more kickback, right? I'm
Yeah.
gonna get hate for that, but I'm assuming people listening have almost no idea of like what all this means and stuff.
Right.
So there's like more kickback, but it's also like you're putting your whole body around it as opposed
Correct.
to like a pistol. You're literally like you have to get your grip right. You have to not lock your arms right, but you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like lock them
Yep.
out in whatever, angle. Um, right. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Um, is there, yeah, is you want to speak on any of that? Like if you had to give someone
I
one
totally
platform to
agree.
start
I
with.
totally agree. So I teach a lot about for
Yeah,
City Gun Club,
that's awesome.
and most people are coming in for handgun lessons,
Okay.
and I tell them straight up, in my opinion, just
Hmm.
my opinion, the pistol is the hardest to learn, to master, to become proficient with, and it's
Yeah.
for the exact same reason. You
Yeah.
get 2 points of contact, and every millimeter of pressure or shift in your hand, or finger on the trigger, like all of these things can significantly impact where that bullet is actually going to hit.
Right.
And with shotgun, where we do have, I tell people, like, if you love your shotgun, it will love you back. You
Hmm.
pull it out, pull it in, give it a nice tight
Yeah.
hug, squish it in.
I like that.
Like
Yeah.
everything should be touching it as much as you can.
Yeah.
In that case, now you've got so much more control, and it's actually easier.
Yeah.
And I tell them, AR-15, like, I can't teach you to be a sniper, but I can give
Right.
you a rundown on how to safely operate and hit targets within close range, right? 25, 50 yards,
Hmm.
in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Pistol, I can't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, cannot
Right.
do
It
that.
takes a lot more
Yeah.
training. Absolutely.
Yep.
And like not, NDing or something like negligent discharging. I try every time like I say something that's like a word that we know
Right.
very well, I try to like say what it really is.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. Have you ever had someone come in and ask like which they should start with? Do they ever just
Hmm.
walk in and say like I want to learn to shoot? What should I start with?
Yeah. I usually try to ask them, like, what's their goal,
Yeah.
right? Because guns are like shoes; they're purpose driven. Like, you don't
Yeah.
wear stilettos to do CrossFit, and you're probably not going to wear flip flops to a black tie affair. So I feel like guns are very purpose driven. So I
Yeah.
try to identify, like, what are you looking to do?
Mhm.
If it's just target shooting, I'll usually start them with a pistol.
Yeah.
Because again, accessibility. Pistols are everywhere.
Yeah.
Indoor ranges are everywhere. They can shoot them anywhere. Shotguns, not quite as accessible, just again because of restrictions on where you can shoot those.
Right.
So I usually end up starting them with pistol.
Yeah.
But with the full disclosure, okay, so this is going to take more work and more
Yeah.
time and more effort and more practice.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. Yeah, you would be a great person to like. I would hope that my sister walked into a range and someone like you was ready to kind of mentor her into the gun world.
No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's freaking awesome. I know we haven't talked a lot about shotguns so far.
Mhm.
I don't really like come with a script or plan, but I want people to know what it takes to go to a world shoot, especially especially because I'm still trying to figure that out. Like
Right.
obviously I'm in and I because Cindy moved over, I've got that team slot, which is
Yeah.
really great. Thank you, Cindy. But with all that said, like when it comes to um prepping for a world tour, like what did it look like for you? What have you put into it?
A lot.
No big deal,
A
right?
lot,
It's just our
right? Yeah.
Olympics.
Well, I had decided that I wanted to go to Worlds. I had a great time in Thailand. It was super educational. The first Worlds under the belt, you kind of like, oh, now I know
Just
half
a
the
little bit?
questions to ask.
Yeah.
Beforehand, no clue.
Yeah.
So just like we had to qualify. So first we had to figure out, like, hey, do we want to try to go in standard manual, which is the pump division?
Yeah.
It's never been done. I don't know. They may not have a team competition depending on if other countries don't get in play.
Right.
And so it's like, why not? Let's do this,
Mhm.
right? Like, and to be perfectly frank, like, we got our butts handed to us in modified division, like the
Gotcha.
US team did. And some of that was equipment, all
Yeah.
right? Like, we just don't run comped guns and 3-gun with shotguns the way that they do everywhere else, or
Yeah.
companies that are, or countries
Yeah.
that really, really
Right.
play in the IPSC. We
Yeah.
don't do that here. We don't do IPSC. So we're trying to compete on a world level in a game that we don't play
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah.
So people come in like from 3-gun, like,
That's really
I
interesting.
know how to use this gun. Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
So we decided we were going to run the pump and started hitting the qualifiers. The first qualifier I actually ran with the BPS,
Okay.
which is the Browning pump shotgun.
Awesome.
And it was kind of a train wreck.
Okay.
The shooting was okay,
Okay.
but again, the gun was not the right piece of
Right.
equipment.
You have to have the right equipment.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the February's qualifier was kind of tanked.
Gotcha.
March, I bought a new gun, a Stoger P3000, And I'm like, okay, it's a $225 gun. Let's see
Yeah.
what we can do with this. I put on a tube that cost almost as much as the gun itself, opened up
Wild.
the port.
Is that what this is right here?
This is a Benelli Nova
Oh, sorry.
Speed.
Okay, we're getting there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So I ran the Stoger for the rest of the season,
Okay.
which also huge, great value. Like I
Okay.
probably have 12,000 rounds through that pump shotgun, which for a
Fantastic.
$225 gun, I'm like, that's solid.
Yeah.
Solid piece of work. If somebody needs a cheap pump shotgun, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, just really, really trying to get my scores up high enough to qualify because we had to hit 60% of the men's overall and playing in pump, which was new to all of us. Katrina Reed and Cindy
Yeah.
also like, what are we doing? We
Right.
haven't done pump before.
Right.
Well, Cindy just switched after she qualified and modified, but so we're all kind of learning this platform together.
Mhm.
So successfully hit our percentiles through a ton of money, for qualifier matches, ammo, and practice.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of dry fire, just trying to build up the strength, honestly, to cycle the gun on long stages. Short stages are pretty easy, but when you start hitting that 25 mark with cycling the shotgun, and you've got adrenaline and everything's tense, and you're trying to think about hitting your targets, it was tiring.
It sounds really
You're like,
taxing.
"Whew, I'm so tired. I need a break," but you're on the clock, so no breaks. So that was kind of just the process. And then once we did get notification that we had qualified for the Worlds, we ordered in Benelli Nova Speeds, which is actually a true race gun for pump.
Okay.
We had to import them from Canada. Ross Haney and some of his guys were hugely instrumental in that. That process took 4 months.
And you're just like, I need to practice what the world shoot is around the
Yeah,
corner. Oh
yeah.
my
So
God,
I've had it now like 4 weeks.
Okay,
and we leave in like 8.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Why would you bring that up?
Because I'm
just
excited. I'm so
just
excited.
kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm excited too. I think that, I don't know about you, but the summer is a big time of travel. And I've been traveling so much. And I have dry fired. Like I went to Lena's wedding a week ago and I dry fired in the cabin.
Yep.
Like, we have to.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, I've never been to one. So it's one of those, like, I think I have more anticipatory anxiety than I have excitement.
Yeah.
So that's me, not to project
No,
onto you.
I totally understand.
Project your excitement onto me.
I am excited because, like, what if you think about it,
Yes.
the culmination of the last 19 months of our life, basically, is all 8 weeks away.
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome, right?
Yes. Okay.
And
I'm
so,
gonna change my, it's my framework.
it's
a
easy.
framework
It's because,
thing.
okay, what do we do for the next 8 weeks? We lock in. I get up, I go to the gym, I come home, I dry fire for 30 minutes, I go to work.
Yeah.
Come home and repeat, rinse, wash, repeat, like over and over and over for the next 8 weeks. And so it's like there's nothing scary about that.
Yeah.
It's just a set schedule. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yes.
Super excited. It'll be great.
That's good. We still need to book really quick. You just reminded me, we need to book our flight to Atlanta, which is where we're flying out of, to Greece.
So I was on the phone earlier today with one of my buddies who is going as an individual in standard division. And he's like, yeah, I haven't booked my flight to Atlanta yet, or to Denver.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the big flight is the one to Greece, which like, thank God Lena let me sit with her while we did that, because I'm sitting behind her and Jeremy on the way with some other stranger for those 8+ hours. But anyway, sorry. Yes, something. Okay, so you're talking about the difficulty and the taxation of like having to
manually cycle it.
Manually cycling. So what made you choose this discipline over a semi-auto? Like, you could have qualified on any of those teams. It sounds like, with your experience.
I probably could have.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I like to do different things.
Yeah.
And nobody, like I said, nobody has done it before.
Yeah.
Meaning, sorry. No females have ever done this before.
Got you.
For the U.S. and there's a great line in I think it's Hidden Figures. It's like somebody has to be first.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
so I'm like, that's kind of how I look at a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's fantastic.
Okay, so I'm pushing 50, but somebody has to be first. Like, let's open the door and see what ladies and what young women are growing up and coming after. It's like, oh, if that middle-aged mom can do it, I can do it. Yes, let that be your inspiration.
Absolutely.
So,
Are you a mom?
Yeah,
Oh,
I have 2 kids.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my gosh, yeah. And you never stop being a mom. My mom is 67 or 68. I still call her about taxes, and I'm like, how does this work again? She's like, you have an accountant. I'm like, yeah, but you explain it better.
Yeah, exactly. I need my mom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, that's freaking fantastic. Like, you're a very good example of, like, one, if you want it, you can have it. Like if you
Right.
want to make it work, because you mentioned, and we've mentioned a few times how expensive it is. I think people, just like they look at Olympians, think like Olympians are sponsored.
Oh,
Lanny Barnes was one of the first people to
yeah.
debunk that for me. She's a former Olympian in biathlon,
Yeah.
and which is skiing and shooting, by the way, rifles. She mentioned like a lot of people have this conception that people go to the Olympics, they must be making money at the
Yeah.
wazoo. No, they spend money to go, and like that's the case for us too.
Yep.
Like, I've particularly, I don't mind saying this, it's the truth, objective truth. Like I've had trouble hearing back from Mossberg to get any support, because they're a hunting brand, you know,
Yeah.
and the only reason I'm running the 940 is like it's what I learned on, it's what Lena taught me on, and it's just one of those things you don't want to switch platforms when you're like
Yep.
just getting to know something well, unless you do it early on enough, and I
Yeah.
didn't. So, um, it's one of those things like a lot of people think that you're rolling in dough, and it's like, no, we've actually invested and are investing so much money.
Yeah. So I joke about this all the time, but I'm totally not joking. You know, like
Sorry.
like my husband and I, we're
Yeah.
good to, you know, we can pay our bills.
Yeah.
And my kids, again, my son is finally out of travel hockey. He's in
Okay.
college, and so it's like that frees up a lot of time and
Yeah.
money. I pick up brass on the range and
Yeah.
recycle brass. I
Fantastic.
donate plasma twice a week so I can afford ammo.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like all of these things. I work a job. I teach lessons outside of my normal 40 to 50 hours a week
Yeah.
to make additional funds to be able to pay for it. You know, when you're going through, let's say, $130 a week in
Yeah.
shotgun shells, and that's not including, you know, trying to bring in a piece of equipment that's a $2,500 gun by the time you pay customs taxes.
Yes.
You know, it's very expensive, and that's not, I'm not the anomaly. I am just like everybody else who's working to go to Worlds. Like,
Right.
okay, this is the goal.
Yep.
How do we figure out how to make it happen? Is it cost prohibitive? If you want it to be, but
Right.
there's always ways around it.
Yeah.
But it means like you got to do a side hustle, you know? So I go
Yeah.
out and practice, and then I pick up brass off the range and take
Yeah.
it to the recyclers, you know?
Yeah.
And the guys think I'm crazy, like, where you get all this brass? I'm like, I sit there and pick it up one
Yep.
piece at a time,
Yep,
you
yep. I
know?
bet your squats are so deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yeah. And dude, donating plasma. I donated plasma to buy my first house, and I had people ask me, I think I had like a cousin that was like, "Oh, like how did you buy your first house so young?" with my ex-husband. And I was like, we literally went on dates to donate
Yeah.
plasma. Like
Yep.
you do what you got to do. Like when you have
It's,
goals and you
yeah,
don't
but
have
it
a
sounds
real
really cool when you say, how did you pay for that? Blood money.
blood money.
Blood money. I paid for it with
That's
blood money.
hilarious.
And so that's how I refer to it all the time. It's
That's
like,
so
oh,
funny.
I got this. Blood money's covering it,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's how I've pretty much paid for almost
Yeah.
all of Worlds. Like for the
Yeah.
qualifiers, the housing, you know, it's blood money and brass.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Dude, that has to be the name of your podcast. You gotta start a podcast.
That would be pretty funny.
You gotta
It's
do
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm just like, what other body parts could I sell?
Right? So many. I get
know,
reels sometimes, and these girls are like,
Yeah.
I could sell my liver. And they go on the black market and they look up like how much it's like
Yeah.
selling for, and they're like staring at the price, and they're like, and then the reel just ends. I get a lot of them.
I think it's a great
Stop
idea.
tempting me.
I think I'm pushing the edge of what is age acceptable for
Yeah.
donating body parts.
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I get
that feels
ads to
like
sell my eggs all the time.
You get what?
I get ads to sell my eggs all the time.
Oh, well.
My reproductive eggs, by the way, not my chicken coop eggs, okay? To be clear, I don't even have a chicken coop. I wish I did. But anyway, no, it's so good to hear your perspective on this. And we've been dry firing together, which has been really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to pick up the pace with that, with you and Lena. I think having 3 people almost like forces us to focus in a little bit more. Not that Lena and I yap, but it keeps like a line running. It keeps like us really intentional because we want to get the most out of that time. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't know if we'll like see each other much at Worlds. I know that I don't know understand the schedule as well as you do, but I think there's like morning and night blocks
Yeah.
and like things like
Yeah,
that.
they just released that. Did you see it earlier today? Okay. So they
Nope.
just released the
This is
squad
launching today,
squad matrix. Like
nice.
literally as I was driving here.
Oh, great.
I saw it pop up and I'm like, oh, sweet.
Oh,
So they do run
fantastic.
AM PM schedules,
Yeah.
and then they have a random day off scheduled
Just
somewhere.
email.
But yeah, you'll be able
Yeah.
to see what squad you're on, and it's kind of all over the. Oh, you're in modified, right?
Yes, I am in modified.
So you're shooting with Ursula.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yes.
she, I think, is on squad 6.
Okay, cool.
So your
We should all be
schedule,
together,
I
right?
looked too.
So we can see-
Because
Okay,
I'm like,
good.
where are my friends playing?
Where
You
is
know.
this? Did it come through email? Or
So
did
I
have
think
to
you
log
guys
in?
start AM and then you'll go AM PM. But I don't remember what day
Oh.
off you have.
Like, did this get emailed to you?
I saw it on Facebook.
Oh, cool. There's a
Yeah.
Facebook group.
Well, the Shotgun World Shoot Facebook group.
Hmm.
They
What?
posted the link. Are you not part of that?
Nope.
Oh,
My bad.
you should be, because it is a lot of
That's
information that's
bro,
helpful.
I've missed so many deadlines. No wonder. I just found it. Is that it?
No,
Nope. Wait.
but that
it says
is
World
one.
Ship 2.
There's a couple.
Okay.
I'll show you the links
I'll get
when
the
we're
links
done.
from you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. LOL. I was like, how do people like keep finding all of these
Yeah.
pieces of information? I feel so dumb.
It's a great source.
Yes,
But I
that's good.
keep sending like screenshot stuff and send it to my buddy
Yeah.
because he doesn't have any social media.
Oh,
so
that
I'm
would be
like,
hard.
this
Yes.
is what you're missing. This is what you're
Yes.
missing.
Oh, that's
This
so
is-
nice.
But he's so anti. I'm like, what? I'll serve it to you on a
Yeah,
platter.
little
Yeah.
did you know, the influencer, also needed it. I can't believe I did that. But again, no, that's good to know. Thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good to know. Speaking of, we have a dry fire session to get to.
Yes.
It's something I do with all of my guest speakers before we end the episode is asking what you want to leave them with. I feel like you have some really motivational words. Just like
what I would want to leave you with.
no rush. Take your time.
Let's see. Well, it's really more phrasing.
Okay. I like
So my thing for everybody would be like, be brave. Do the things that scare you. That's where true growth happens, both physically and mentally. And like, honestly, the people that inspire me the most right now are women I'm seeing coming into 3-gun in their 60s and their 70s. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's hope for me. Cause I'm pushing 50 and people are like, oh, you're getting old. And I'm like, are you kidding?
No.
What am I going to do next? I think
Yeah.
I'm going to take up speed skating, but I'm not sure.
Oh, really? Ooh,
Yeah, because why
that's
not? I mean,
exciting.
because
Yeah,
I
'cause
can.
you can. I
We'll
love
see
it.
what happens.
Yeah.
But that would be it. Like, do the things that scare you, and like it's really never too late, and
Yeah.
you are the only limits that you have. Like, if you want it bad enough, figure it out
Love
and
that.
do it anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And thank you for coming
absolutely.
on the podcast. You don't live close to here. I mean, like you live in Utah, but it's one
Yeah.
of those things. Have you seen where it's like Texans be like, no, it's okay. It's just a drive to the other part of the state. And it's like a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's how we vibe in the United States, I guess. But thank you so much. That was beautiful to hear. And I'm someone who doesn't believe in saying like, I feel old. I have friends. So I'm 28. I don't know if I forget I'm 28 old. I keep saying 27, but I'm 28. Yep. And I have friends my same age that are like, oh, we're getting old. I'm like, shut the hell up. Don't
Yeah.
say that. That's not true.
That's
We're
how I
just-
feel.
we're
Like, no,
changing.
you're getting old. I'm not.
Yeah, time
Like,
is also relative. Like, we
Yeah.
created that to, like, for bureaucracy anyway. So, like,
Yeah.
why would we? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed because I can't be a senior yet at World Shoot, and I was kind of excited about that.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so why? I don't know, because I can.
Right.
You know,
is that
it's-
15 older?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll miss it by
Yeah.
like 4 months.
Yeah, I
but the
love
rest
that.
of my team are all senior ladies, and so I'm like, oh, I'm the
Yeah.
young one.
This is so nice this is so refreshing. I have, like, a lot of family members who act so much older than their age. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, you will not influence me. You will not
Yeah.
influence me. Like, I can't do it. My dad is still doing handstands and is,
Yep.
like, about to be 70. So
I-
it's like,
That's how it should be. My
Uh-huh.
dad hikes the Grand Canyon rim to rim every year.
what?
He's 70. I don't know how old he is. 72,
That's
73.
fantastic. We should hook him up.
My mom went skydiving on her 50th birthday by
love that.
herself because nobody was going with her.
Yeah.
I would have, but it didn't fit in the schedule.
Right.
So she went by herself, and
Yeah.
it's like, so I have an amazing example to live
Yeah.
up to. Like, they're still living life fully and wholly and keeping moving. And,
Yeah.
the body sometimes dictates what you get to do that day,
Yes.
but it's really in your head.
yeah.
I mean, that's how I feel.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I hope
Yeah.
that I know this has inspired people, so I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's awesome. All right, guys, we're going to end it there. Stay safe and stay vigilant.